Yesterday was the first day of PE and we started the football unit. The first thing I did was sneak off to the basketball courts and check to see if the cheese was still there. And sure enough, it was. It's all moldy and nasty, and ever since it showed up, people have been trying to avoid it. To give you an idea of how people will go out of their way to stay away from the cheese, it's sitting right under the only hoop with a net in it, but nobody's played on that court for over a year. Darnell Washington tripped and fell and brushed the cheese with his finger last year, and it started this whole thing called the cheese touch. It's like cooties. If you have the cheese touch, then you have it until you pass it on to somebody else. The only way to protect yourself from the cheese touch was to cross your fingers, but that's hard to remember, so I taped my fingers together for the last couple weeks of school. I got it in handwriting, but it was totally worth it. This one kid named Abe Hall got the cheese touch, and nobody would sit with him at lunch for the rest of the year. This summer, he moved away to California, and he took the cheese touch with him. Nobody has touched the cheese ever since then, not even with a stick. The first week of school is finally over, so I can sleep late again. Most kids set their alarms and get up early on Saturday to watch cartoons or whatever. But the way I know it's time for me to crawl out of bed is when I can't stand the taste of my breath anymore. Other than the Saturday morning vacuuming, me and Dad get along pretty good. But Roderick and Dad is another story. It doesn't help that Roderick is a teenager, which is Dad's least favorite type of person. I think if there were a petition to ship all of the teenagers in the state to Australia or Alcatraz or something, Dad would be the first to sign it.
Dag nab, you rotten teenagers.
While I'm on the subject of Saturday, I should mention some of my other gripes. First of all, there's nothing on TV after 1 p.m. except golf and bowling. Second of all, the sun comes right through the sliding glass window and you can hardly see what's on the TV anyway. And on top of that, you get all sweaty and stick to the couch. It's practically like a conspiracy against kids to make them go outside and do something besides watch TV. I decided to just skip the whole TV thing and go over to Rowley's. I know I haven't mentioned Rowley in this journal yet, even though he's technically my best friend, but there's a pretty good reason for that. Hey, Greg! Do you want to come to my house and play? I told Rowley at least 1 billion times this summer that now we're in middle school, you're supposed to say hang out, not play. But no matter how many times I kick him in the shins when he says play, he always forgets for the next time. So I guess you could say I've been avoiding Rowley this week. I've been trying to be more careful about my image ever since this summer when we got caught playing Vikings and Indians in the woods by a couple of 8th graders.
Nerds!
Now, Rowley can speak for himself on the whole nerd thing, but I'll just mention as a side note that he is the only 12-year-old I know who still has a babysitter. Rowley moved here a couple years ago and I kind of took him under my wing. My former best friend Ben moved to Piscataway and I figured I'd better find myself a new friend to hang out with. So here comes Rowley, straight out of Ohio. His mom bought him some book called How to Make Friends in New Places and he showed up at my door trying out all of these gimmicks. Knock, knock. Huh? Thermos. Excuse me? There must be some way to tickle your funny bone. Say what? The best thing about having Rowley around is that I get a chance to use all the tricks Roderick used on me that I could never get away with pulling on Manny. Did you know that if your hand is bigger than your face, it's a sign of low intelligence? Really? Ha! Gotcha! But do I have low intelligence? Let me check again. Another bonus about Rowley is that he has never squealed on me, not even once. So in some ways, I guess you could say he's the perfect friend.